Hey there. So today I wanted to tell you a story that actually happened. I saw it a while back when I was taking a marketing course, and it was horrible and something that I really hope no one else ever has to go to. So through the course, one day a guy comes in just freaking out because he had followed the instructor's in directions to the letter and sent out an email to his list, and his list was furious, like really upset and angry, and it the guy was like, whoa, hang on, I'm paying this professional to teach me how to do email marketing better, and it's pissed off my list. What the hell do I do? And I can only imagine how awful this poor guy must have felt. I mean, if you're an entrepreneur, you know how much goes into building your list and nurturing it, and how valuable a good list is. And to alienate them is the worst. Like, no one wants to do that, and especially because it's not like he made a mistake. He got bad advice, and uh, that's brought up something that I've actually been really mulling over lately, and that's how to balance the idea of being coachable with self-confidence. Because that guy, and actually I did tell him this, you need to know your audience, all right? And so you need to know your business and yourself and your audience. And if someone gives you advice, and I don't care who that person is, it can be like freaking Elon Musk and Richard Branson. It can be, figure out who your business role model is. And if they give you advice that you sit there and in your gut you go, okay, that's not going to work for my list, don't take that advice, or at least be incredibly cautious doing so. All right. And I truly believe that ultimately you are the biggest authority in your life, that you are the one that comes up with the right answers for you, because there are so many answers out there. There's so many different paths. The question isn't how do I do it? The question is what's right for me. And so it can be kind of easy to sit there and say, well, how can you be a coach when you're sitting there telling people, oh, just, do what's right for you? And that is something I've been kind of mulling over, because I have had coaches who didn't think that at all. Ties back into what I said last time. I swear I'm not going to just talk about bad coaching experiences, but I do want to talk about it a bit because I don't think it's talked about enough, and it's really important to acknowledge that it is possible to have a bad coaching experience and to not just get swept up in all the fancy marketing, and make sure that you're finding a coach that truly resonates with you. All right. And if that's not me, then I don't want to work with you. And if that is me, then I would absolutely love to work with you. That's it. So how can you be coachable while honoring your own intuition and self-knowledge? Basically, what do you do if your coach says something and you think, no, that's not right for me? And I've very much had that experience before. In fact, one time I was on a call with a coach that I paid a very good amount of money to, and I wasn't feeling great over the session. And then the coach said something, and I heard my own inner voice, inner intuition say, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Not what you want to come up during a coaching session. Definitely not what I want any of my clients to ever experience. All right, so what do you do when that happens? And I think I've come up with a few things. And now, the very first thing you have to do, of course, is to make sure you're getting a good fit coach. Because if you have a bad fit coach, then none of this is going to matter. If you have a truly bad fit coach, ultimately the only thing you can do is walk away. Hopefully you'll be able to get your money back, but you may just have to walk away from the money. And I've had to do that, and it sucks. But if you have a good fit coach, then you have a coach that you feel confident in, that believes in you and trusts you, and is there for you so that you can safely say, hey, I don't like that idea. Can we talk about why. And that's the second point, and that's also a really important one, okay? You need to actually look into your hesitations and why. All right, sometimes you need to even try it out. Like with the mailing list example, I would have suggested he try sending it to maybe a small portion of his list, or maybe even have a conversation with some of his audience. I'm a firm believer in knowing your audience and having a conversation going, and you should have a dialogue with them and spend time talking with people, even people who aren't customers yet, just so that you have that understanding. You know, I see that as really valuable, and it's something that you can delegate out if it just, and as you grow, you'll probably want to. But I think it's also important to at least, like, maybe even just once a month, do it yourself, just to keep that connection and keep on the pulse of your audience, because that's the most important thing in your business. But anyway, so yeah, talk about why you're feeling the way you are, and see if you can dig into, you know, what's going on. And that's the coach's job, by the way. All right, we are here so that when something comes up and someone says, you know, that doesn't feel right to me, we're here so that we can kind of provide a safe and structured space with our experience to explore, because sometimes we hesitate on the things that we need to do. You may have never heard this before, but I've seen quite a few people talk about how our greatest fear is the step that we most need to take. That's actually why I started doing this video series. I saw another coach talking, and she said, the story you're most afraid of telling is the story you most need to tell. And that was just a light bulb moment for me, because I was putting off getting used to doing video, and I knew that it was a good thing to do, but I've been putting it off. So there you go. Like, if that person wasn't my individual coach, but if I'd had a coach who had told me, you know, you should do video, and I felt that big hesitation, we could have discussed that and where that was coming from, right? And that's something that I want my clients to be able to do as well. And they're generally able to, which is something that I'm really proud of, because yeah, I don't believe that I'm like some perfect omniscient being. You know, I'm not. And also, even if I were, I don't know every single aspect of your life. So there may be a piece of the puzzle that I'm missing, and you can bring it up, and then I'll be like, oh, okay, let's find a better strategy for you then. So another part of what you need to do, and this is really the most important part, is to start building your own confidence. You know, if you aren't already there, you really need to prioritize building your own confidence. And part of that is going to mean learning more about how to do business. It's going to mean making sure that I personally really strongly believe in role models. So if you have role models who have achieved what you're trying to achieve, and you can ideally even get a glimpse into like kind of the under the hood, behind the scenes, how they got there, then that'll give you some good insight into the path that you're trying to go on. And also just confidence in general throughout your life. It is very important, and it's something that I work with my clients on as well. When they don't have some people come to me and they're still not really sure how to trust their own confidence and their intuition, and I don't just sit there and take advantage of that and say, okay, do everything I tell you. I work with them to develop that, because they need that. You know, you need to have your own self-confidence in business. I'm constantly building it as well, and I would absolutely love to be the person who, you know, could just stand up even to, like, if Oprah were in front of me right now and say, no, I'm going to do this my way, if I knew it was legitimately the right thing to do. You know, I don't want to just rebel for the sake of rebelling, but I'm going to be honest, I think I'd be too intimidated by that at the moment. Okay, so the things that you want to avoid in this is the absolute first thing you want to avoid is to make sure that this isn't self-sabotage. And this is kind of sucks. This is one of the reasons that bad fit coaches are so bad. Like I said, I've had this as well. And so when a coach says something that just doesn't resonate at all with me, my first thought is, and I think this is a good first thought to have, honestly, so I don't want to get rid of it. My first thought is this legitimately wrong for me, or is it something that's holding me back? And when it's that, it sucks. It's a pretty sticky, unpleasant place to be in when you're giving bad advice. But it's a really important thing to check in on, because there have been times where a coach has given me advice that I was like, whoa, no way. And then as we worked through it, we came to realize, oh, actually, this is the right step for me. I'm scared about it for some reason. All right. So yeah, ideally you have a good coach who will help you through this. But yeah, intuition is so tricky because you have to learn how to really tease it out, and that's something I don't want to go into too deep right now. I think I just came up with an idea of something I'm going to be talking about later. But really learning how to identify what is your intuition versus what is your inner saboteur, that's super important just in life. And if you want to be successful, you're going to have to be able to tease out those two voices, because sometimes they sound very, very similar. Your inner saboteur can be incredibly skilled and really good at what they do, and so is very happy to mimic your intuition and make you think. But you can absolutely build the confidence and the habit and the knowledge of how to recognize when it's legitimate intuition, when it isn't. And also, when you come up against this, you should not just fall into old habits, okay? A lot of times that we come up against something that's uncomfortable or we don't like, and so we fall into our old comfort zone. But generally, the reason that you're seeing a coach is because your old comfort zone is a place you don't want to be anymore, and you can't get out of that place by just falling into old habits. So even if one or two pieces of information from the coach don't work for you, see if you can tease out the bits that do. Even the coaches I've had bad experiences with, and I've been able to get some value out of it. And even if for me the value is just, I don't want to treat people that way, I don't want to be that coach, I see that as valuable because it helps me build my inner confidence and my inner barometer for the person and the coach that I want to be. And honestly, I'm now at the point where I think that counter examples are even more powerful than positive examples, because they really keep me on track and keep me from falling into bad habits, because I know now the consequences of it. I've had, actually earlier this year, I had a really, really bad experience. This was back in April, with someone that I had so much respect for. Like, I couldn't believe how bad the experience was. And I walked away from that thinking, like, at that moment in time, my mission in life was that no one would ever walk away from me feeling that way. Like, I don't care if I have to lose money. I don't care if it means that I have to grow a little bit slower. I will not let anyone walk away from me feeling as bad as I felt in that moment. And I also actually realized that I had been falling into some bad habits that were taking me down potentially that path, because, it can happen. So it was a really powerful course correction for me. And yes, it was an unpleasant experience. It was money that I wish I hadn't had to spend. I wish I hadn't had to have that experience. But you know what? I got something really valuable out of it, even though it wasn't what I wanted to get out of it. So I'm going to finish this video today with a quote from Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, and I really hope I'm pronouncing that right. I actually looked up how to pronounce it. Anyways, as soon as you trust yourself, you will know how to live. And while I was typing that in for my notes, I actually typed in "you know how to love," and I think that little Freudian slip is something that I want to share with you because that's true as well. I do believe in the power of love and that it's really important to bring that energy into your life and into your business. I'm to build a life that you love, to build a business that you love for an audience that you love. All right. And yes, the most important thing really is to learn how to build the confidence and how to trust yourself, because you have an inner compass, and as you learn to listen to it, it will take you in the right direction. But it can be hard to learn how to listen to it, and in my own experience, I know that sometimes that compass takes me to good fit coaches, because everyone needs support once in a while, and a good coach will get you to places that you could never get to on your own, or at least not without like way more effort. All right, so thank you so much for watching again. It's been a pleasure having these videos with you, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.